Hello and welcome to Revere's Public Schools Tribute to Women's History Month. I am Cassie Sermon, principal of Lincoln Elementary School. Each March, our schools take the opportunity to honor and recognize the achievements women have made in social, economic, cultural, and political spheres around the world. This year's theme focuses on equity, diversity, and inclusion. During this segment, we are going to hear from women, school leaders, as well as female students in leadership positions at Revere High, CityLab, Rumney Marsh, Whelan, Susan B. Anthony, and the Hill School. Women History Month means to them why they choose to be leaders, what female figures inspire them, and what they are doing to advance equity and inclusion in their school or life. So please sit back, relax, and enjoy our show.
I actually think we should be celebrating women's history every single day. I appreciate that we do have a Women's History Month. I think it's a great time to celebrate all the amazing contributions that women in this country have made. But if it were up to me, I would be celebrating women's history every single day because we are a stronger world because of women, and we would not be here without women.
It just symbolizes women's empowerment and gender equality. I think that women should be celebrated all 12 months of the year, but I think that this month really just highlights like what women have done in history and how we can bring gender equality to the country and society in general.
Women throughout the years have been fighting for equal rights. There was this time where men had more rights than women, but women said that they are women and they should have equal rights. And if men can do something, then women can do the same thing. And I just feel like Women's History Month is all about their achievements and remembering their strength and their mindset that they put into it.
For me, I think Women's History Month is an opportunity for folks to recognize that a lot of the work that women do goes unnoticed, mostly because we're kind of working behind the scenes all the time and just making it happen, and we're not looking for the glory, right? But I think that Women's History Month is a really great opportunity for everyone to learn about all of the important contributions that women have made throughout history.
Women's History Month is a time to celebrate the contributions of women throughout history. It's a reminder of the struggles women have faced and continue to face. It's an opportunity to recognize the progress we've made towards equality.
Women's History Month to me means a time when we reflect on all the wonderful things that women before us and currently and ahead of us, all the women to come, have contributed and done for our society, and looking forward to a time when we're seen as just contributors and not necessarily separately from men, and the gap between that recognition gets smaller and smaller.
The two words that come to mind for me are celebration and empowerment. So I think about it being a month to like specifically uplift the contributions of women to our school, to this city, to the country, the world, just to honor those things and potentially learn about contributions we didn't know about. But then in terms of empowerment, I think about it as a month to really demonstrate to women of all ages that they are capable, they are powerful, that they add value to our society, and that is like worthy of being valued in the same way that it is for men and like for all genders, and that they can do great things.
Well, I agree with what you're saying, and to be honest, I feel like Women's History Month was kind of just a month to help women feel like empowered to themselves.
Women's History Month gives me a sense of pride, and it's nice knowing that women are being represented in a month.
It means like that we get to celebrate all the great and powerful women that are out there.
I totally agree.
So I chose to be a leader because I thought that it was fulfilling to see how my contribution to my local community can help others, and how I can communicate with people to create change. And I think all of those, just like with my capabilities, I think that me being able to do that is just powerful.
I chose to be a leader almost by accident. I just continued my journey in being a teacher and a mom first. And as I continued to see opportunities for leadership and kind of helping other people see the talents and qualities in themselves, I sort of fell into it and realized that this was a great way for me to contribute and make a difference and be a role model to my own daughter.
What do you think are the qualities of a good leader?
They're kind and they want to help people out and they never give up.
I totally agree with that. The never give up piece is the most important, I think, right? Like even when you're met with a barrier or an obstacle, I think you got to figure out how to work around it.
Yeah.
And I think you do that not only with your classwork and your schoolwork, but also in all the different things that you're involved with. Like you've got a super busy schedule, but that's not a barrier for you. You figure out how to make it work.
I am really drawn towards like trying to solve complex problems. I think even as a kid, I was like very into puzzles, and also like working with people. And it's sort of the intersection of those things for me on a personal level. When I was a teacher, I loved the classroom and I loved my relationships with my students, but I also felt really compelled to be working towards like our school being a great place in a broader way. And so I think being a leader comes with like both power and responsibility. But becoming a leader was this opportunity to, in an area I care about, like education and educational equity, to be someone who's like taking charge, being involved in complex decisions and complex challenges, but like getting to try to work towards change in that, and to sort of be doing that work amongst adults and bringing people together while still doing that like in service and with students too.
I chose to be a leader so that way I can maybe be a role model for other students and for the other people out there.
For me, it was how I thought I could have the most impact on the most students. So I started out as a first grade teacher and I had the opportunity to support the 28 children in my class, right? And then I moved into a dean of curriculum position. So I was able to support the 300 kids that were in the pre-kindergarten, kindergarten, and first grade that I supported. And then I was able to support a bunch of adult teachers to the tune of like 70 schools, maybe 50 to 100 staff members per school. Like that's a lot. And then I said, how can I continue to have influence on like a lot of people at the same time? And I was like, maybe a principal would do that. So for 655 kids and 100 staff members, I can make good change or provide, essential support so that everyone can be successful. I saw being a leader as the opportunity to really impact the lives of the greatest number of people.
Hi, I'm Stacy Rizzo, Revere School Committee. I am always proud to celebrate Women's History Month as we remind ourselves and our students of the accomplishments of women and recognize the vital role they played throughout American history. What began as a celebration of Women's History Week on March 7th, 1982, quickly extended to become Women's History Month in 1987. Last year, I was honored to be named one of 15 women who are making a difference in Massachusetts schools. Each year, I attend Capitol Hill in DC and the State House to advocate for our students and public education on needs such as menstrual products in schools, IDEA full funding, alternatives to MCAS, and equity and liberation for all. To our beautiful students, faculty, staff, and families, no matter your visible or invisible disability, race, ethnicity, veteran status, sexual orientation, or religion is, you need to be at the table to make the decisions and have the difficult conversations. And as the first African American woman elected to Congress, Shirley Chisholm said, if they don't give you a seat at the table, bring a folding chair. Some ask, why am I so vocal? Why do I risk alienating people I care about? Because someday my granddaughters, Sylvia, Adeline, and Cora, will ask me, what did you do when all this was going on? And I need to be able to tell them, I fought hard. We know our work is not done, and the conversation about gender equality still remains prominent. But ladies, keep on fighting and keep on believing. Thank you. Have a great day.
Definitely my mom also. I love my mom. She helps me all the time. I love her so much. And my piano teacher, she helps me when I'm stuck or she just tells me to keep going. She really inspired me to become like the best I can.
I'm thinking about someone that people probably don't know in this community. Her name's Deneen Keaton. She was the principal at the first school where I was a teacher, which was a high school in Washington, D.C. Really early in my career, she gave me the opportunity to have a leadership role. So as a very young teacher, I got to become a department chair. And I still remember in like one of my first leadership team meetings with the school, I was just sort of taking everything in. That's more my style when I'm first in a space. And afterwards, she sort of pulled me aside and she was like, "Kid, I did not have you on this team to just sit silently. Like I want your voice in this space. I want you to speak up." And I think it was this combination of like her believing in me, but also really pushing me outside of my comfort zone. That was like a real turning point in terms of who I am as a leader. And then just through my time there as a teacher, as I made sense of like what next and how I wanted to grow, she really was a mentor and a support to me in considering, do I ever want to be a principal? And she wrote my recommendation to grad school. When I did decide to become a principal, I reached back out to her and she sort of guided me through. So that sort of mentorship to me and just her being a model. She was like a Black woman leading a team in the city, and like her being a fearless leader, sort of showing what's possible, inspired me to see what is possible for women in school as school leaders as well.
My grandmother.
Yeah.
She's such a church girl. She feels so like empowered. She's so beautiful because she is. She's just so confident. She walks whenever you see her and she walks in the room, she has so much confidence. Like it just overpowers everybody. Just look up to her. So I've looked up to her since I was
is definitely my mom. My mom has taught me about hard work and about having high expectations, but also finding a way to take care of myself. And I think a second female figure that has been important in my life was when I was in high school. Miss Anne Marie Costa was an art teacher. I didn't have her as a teacher, but I was lucky enough to be on her cheerleading team. And she was my coach. And she actually, I believe, was really the first person to identify leadership skills that I had that I really didn't even know about at that age. And she named me as the captain and kind of overseeing that. So that was my first adventure really with leadership. And then on my very first day as an assistant principal a couple of years ago at the Whelan school, I met her in the morning when I was coming in. So it was a really special sign.
I went more like the historical route with this one because I just did a project for my AP Gov class about Dorothy Height. And Dorothy Height was this woman who kind of stood in the backgrounds of the civil rights movement because she was a woman. So even though she had a lot of impact with desegregating schools and creating one of the only organizations that helped the civil rights movement with women's rights, she was still kind of on the back burner. And I feel like her impact in the background made much more significance than a lot of people that were in the forefront of the movement. And a lot of people just don't realize that.
I have so many female figures to think about. My mom also, she taught me to read when I was very little, and she didn't have an opportunity to have an education in the way that I have been able to do that. So I think about her a lot and do a lot of what I do for her. So we have that in common.
My mom, definitely. She has been there with me through thick and thin, obviously. She raises me and my brother Angelo. She has 4 businesses that she owns. She has the painting company that she co-owns with my dad. She's a resume writer. She runs Busy Women's Social, which is essentially she runs events for women with small businesses in Boston. And me and her have a business called Revere Co. where we sell merchandise.
I would say my mom is the inspiration. I lost my mom less than a year ago, and it has been a major hole in my heart since I lost my mom. But she sounds a lot like your grandmother. She just had that presence, a beautiful smile. My mom was Southern, so she never lost her Southern accent, and she lived in New England 60 years. But she was warm, she was kind, and she had a wicked sense of humor. So I miss my mom every day, and she inspires me to be a strong person, definitely a strong woman. She taught me to be a strong Black woman more than anything. She taught me to rise up in all situations, and I miss her, and I will continue to live the rest of my life trying to be like my mom and take all the things that she left in my heart with me.
I would say my mom because she works so hard to provide for me and my family. She is such a loving person, and I'm just grateful that I have her in my life.
So there's many women that I feel have inspired me. When I think about two that really come to mind that have really had an impact on my educational path, I think about a couple of outstanding educators in the Revere Public School system, Fran Riga and Carol Ty. Fran Riga was my 7th and 8th grade English teacher at the Lincoln School, and Carol Ty was my 10th grade English teacher at Revere High School. Their dedication and commitment to their students and to their practice and really led me and solidified my career path. And they served as a mentor to me as I began my journey into education, and even after as I returned to Revere Public Schools. They were there and guided me, and I am forever grateful to for their guidance and their support. And I always aspired to serve my students the way they served me and all of the Revere Public School students.
Something I feel like we can advance equity is kindness, because if we show kindness towards others, we will receive that kindness back.
So as building principal, and this is my 13th year as principal at the SBA, we've done many things. Few that come to mind is the implementation of restorative justice practices at SBA and throughout the district. But by prioritizing repairing harm that's been done as opposed to punitive measures, we really have sought to create a more inclusive and supportive environment for students where they feel valued and respected.
Proud of helping people that don't really they don't have. I'm proud of helping.
I think that you're an incredible helper. I think that whenever anyone's struggling with classwork or organizing something, you're always willing to jump in and lend a hand.
So I think that when I think of how I help with equity and inclusiveness, I think of like my contributions in FEM. And we just recently had a Respond presentation, which Respond is an organization that helps bring awareness to domestic violence. And we just had a presentation on teen dating violence and how we can bring awareness to that. And I think it's important that we had those presentations because since we're in such a large high school with a large community, there's a lot of people that can be reaching out and wanting resources on how they can either learn about teen dating violence or just learn about like things that things in general with domestic violence. And I think that more people learning about that is just better for our community. And we're also participating in the Walk for Change, which is for the Boston Area Rape Crisis Center, which this is a fundraiser that we participate in every year that helps bring awareness for rape victims. And then for the challenges, I feel like the challenges for that I can think of off the top of my head is just how many people in like the school or just society in general don't really know the definition of feminism. Like when I think about when a lot of people think about feminism, they think it's anti-men, or they think that it's just women trying to be above men, and like kind of like the reverse of how society has it now. But like to me, feminism is just gender equality, not gender inequality, but reversed.
Thank you. Yeah, it is cool to see that the events Fem draws is like beyond just the core group, but really like it's for the school community.
Yeah.
What advice do you have for future female leaders?
I would say for future female leaders, be confident, be assertive, be positive. Don't try and have people knock you down, because I feel like often a lot of female leaders are overlooked in society. And I think that if you just continue being persistent and you continue working with the right people, then you'll be able to make an impact.
Before I was a school administrator, I was an ESL teacher and worked with a lot of newcomers to the country. And I think just getting people to understand that having low proficiency in English does not equal having low intelligence or low capacity. The message that learning more than one language is a huge asset and a talent and a strength, and actually makes the brain connections even stronger. I think that's something that I'm really proud of.
To me, equity is no matter what your background is, you can achieve greatness, both like in school and then after that. And so it's that drive that brings me here to Revere. And I want our school to be a place where that's possible for every single student and also every adult. And I hope for every sort of moment of my day to be working in service of that. I know sometimes that's like much more behind the scenes than apparent. But I think one of the challenges for me is like we have a really large community, like over 2,000 students, over 200 adults, and it can be really challenging to hear hear every voice. I want every voice to feel valued, and we have a lot of people, so we need sort of like structures and ways of working together that uplift that. I feel proud when I think about inclusivity. I do think about like hearing voice, being someone who is a listener, who hears people's perspectives and opinions and just makes every person feel valued. And I try to model that just in like every interaction that I have with someone. And then I'm also proud of using my language skills to be able to include people of different backgrounds. So like I learned Spanish not natively, but in school, and I love the language. I love the ability that it gives me to connect with people of different backgrounds. I'm also trying to learn Portuguese. I just started about 3 months ago on Duolingo, and like that element of language and what that means for how we connect and include voices in our community is what I'm working towards.
And what challenges do you think?
Oh, so one of the challenges is like the size and doing that, like moving a team collectively when every individual has perspectives that matter. And so I think in making sense of like what are the needs, given that to me equity is also like how does every person get the supports they need to achieve that. I think it takes a lot of time and energy to like assess the needs fully and make sure we're meeting the needs of like varying different groups based both on like their interests but also their demographic backgrounds. And so there just is a wide variety of what this building needs, and figuring out like the right fit for that and doing that together takes, I don't know, just a lot of time and complex work. So it's a work in progress.
Yeah. Okay, last one. What advice do you have for future female leaders?
I would say be clear about the vision you have and what you value, and then lead by example. So I think when you lead this way, you're saying like, this is who I am and why I'm doing this. And then you're sort of, you're modeling what you expect and how you want others to work. And if that, I think that comes also with something you said, which is like having confidence. Like you were hired for a certain role, which is a combination of like achieving, you have achievements in your life that led you to that point of being selected, and a team of people or an individual decided you are the right person. So sort of starting with the confidence that you're the right person, and you're the right person for who you are and what you bring, and like sort of leading with that, with who you are.
The first thing that comes to mind is the events. At SBA, we hold a lot of events. Which is awesome. We did the Ramadan event last night. I went to that. It was really cool. I learned a lot and I ate really good food. We did a Hispanic Heritage Month event, didn't we? I don't think I went to that. It's been good. Revere is a very diverse city, and that's like my favorite part about Revere. You'll see different foods and shops, and there's a lot of different kids, a lot of different cultures. It's really cool.
I'm really proud of the fact that everybody has the opportunity to get involved in any way that they want to get involved, right? That our teachers pay really close attention to the needs of the individual students and provide them with the support that they need to be able to access grade level curriculum or like you join a club, be in drama club, things like that, that we have a lot of opportunities for kids. I think that that's really important.
I think right now, more than ever, it is important for women to use their voice and use their power through voting. We're in a very intense time in our country where women don't feel like we have the same rights that everybody else does. I think more than ever, women should be aware of what's happening in the world, pay attention to the news, be active in your community, use your voice. I would tell women not to be afraid to be a mother and pursue career. I know it's really difficult. We are often told that we have to choose one or the other. I would encourage girls, if that's you want to have a family, go for it. You want to be a career woman, go for it. You don't want to have a family, go for it. I think women should just do whatever they want to do. I would definitely hope that future women would get more into STEM. There's not a lot of us in STEM, and STEM is the future. So that is the advice I give for girls. Follow your heart either way.
Probably like they take like also the students' opinions and everything as a principal. You have to be like a good listener, have determination. Determination.
I think being a good listener is one of the most important things that a good leader really has as a quality. In addition to that, one thing that I would like to add, even though you had some great examples, I think it's really important to be kind. And I think in any kind of leadership, I think you have to lead also with kindness and make sure that you are able to sit and listen to people and maybe come up with a helpful plan that could be helpful too.
What about you?
I agree with that. I would say don't give things. When people bring you down, don't give their words validation.
I love that. Don't give their words validation.
Because the more that you do that, it's going to feel less power you feel like you have. So I just feel like don't give other people's words validation.
I agree. Thanks, Maya.
I think you said it at the very beginning, don't give up. No matter what obstacle presents itself, there's got to be a way around it, over it, underneath it, however you need to do it. You can't give up. And you have to also be honest and truthful with people. Like sometimes we don't share the best news, right? If someone's having challenges, we got to really bring that up, but it's important to do it quickly and directly and, not sugarcoat things.
Yeah.
What about you? If you had, a kindergarten in here with you, what advice would you give a kindergarten on how to be a good student leader in their school?
To always be kind and never give up no matter what happens.
Totally agree.
If you have a dream and you doubt yourself or you feel like you can't reach that goal, always remember that you shouldn't give up, and there's always going to be obstacles in life, but you should stand up and keep on going. And just, remember that for the women out there, that you are smart and beautiful and that almost anything is possible and you can overcome challenges.
I can't say it any better than that, Daisy. High five. Nice job.
Thank you all for sharing your valuable views and perspectives about Women's History Month. The topics discussed in this program are important to gender equality, as well as breaking down barriers and challenging stereotypes in order to create an environment where all women are valued and respected.